Okay, so I'm here at the modern Pantry in London with Michael Seresin from Seresin Estates in Marlborough, New Zealand. Michael, I've been a big fan of your wines for many years now. Can you just tell us a little bit about your ethos and about your wines and the whole Seresin thing?
Well, I guess the ethos, the fundamental ethos, whether it's our wines, our olive trees, our orchards, our animals, our whatever, is to embrace the earth, the land, the soil as an integral and living part of the whole thing. Sounds a bit airy-fairy, but I do, whether you like it or not. As a consequence, we, not at the very beginning in '92 when we started, but subsequently made it went organic and then biodynamic, which we've been pretty much, for now 15 years. And I guess that's the ethos, and as a result, for me the most important thing is the group of people we have working for us now are beyond compare. We have people who take ownership. I mean, as I said to him, and I'm going to do it, actually, now we're talking about this, I want to get, because it's called Seresin Estate, right? I'm going to get the biggest wine bottle you can, stick the biggest label you can, and put the surname of everybody, for Christian name, whatever, with estate at the bottom of it, because they are the ones who do the work. And for me, the ethos, in other words, creating this entity, which I'm responsible for, and then having the people who actually carry that out, for me is just stunningly satisfying. Despite the money, despite the financial problems and all the rest of it, for me the true pleasure I get is when I've just come back from there. The other day I live in London, I got back 4 days ago, and I had 5 days at the vineyard, and I walked there and it's just like family. It really is. I've got a big family and it's an extended family. These people are the people there and it's the United Nations. We've got Canadians and Americans and Swedes and Spanish and English and Aussies. At least half, if not more, are non-New Zealanders, which may be part of the reason. And these are people who've dropped out of their regular jobs to come and work with us. And for me, I find that, as I say, very, very gratifying.
I visited you 3 times now. I spent a bit of time in 2006 working a little bit of the vintage, and that was great fun and great experience.
Yeah, well, it's moved on a lot from then.
Yeah, and now it's biodynamic and everything. Been a big fan of your wines. So you're over in London and you're doing some winemaker dinners, aren't you? So,
well, I live here, and I'm modern Pantry, and I've known forever. And again, in a way, me using this sort of extended family analogy, she's part of it because she cooked with Peter Gordon. I met her there. She's now doing her own thing. So there's a sort of symbiosis, is that the word? I think, yeah. That we sort of, maybe in a nation not known for its food culture, its wine a bit more, that the people who leave New Zealand do phenomenally well when they really stick to it. And you've got so many examples in the food, the two most obvious being Anna and Peter, but others as well. A friend of mine, Hamish, who's head chef at Zuma and so on. And I just think the rigours of life here draw the best out of New Zealanders. So what happens is a restaurant like that, in fact, we had our first wine dinner here about June, I think, and normally they get 30 people. Something like 90 people applied, so we took over both rooms, which is 60. And there were 30, 35 people who couldn't be entertained, if you like, so they said, well, we better have another one. So this is the second one, and that got booked out in a few days, which is brilliant. It really is. A combination of Anna's food matched to our wines, vice versa, and they just work seamlessly. They really do. And the first dinner was incredible. I mean, I don't go to too many of these things, either because I'm not there, I'm not very good at them, but because I'm not very technical about wine and so on. But it is satisfying, because ultimately all the hard work dealing with all the problems of the financial, economic, the weather, the frost for your grapes, the whole process is about people ultimately eating and drinking and enjoying themselves. Fundamentally, that's what it's about. And for me, again, it's another element of the satisfaction of it. I mean, I love nothing more than walking into a restaurant somewhere in the world I've never been before, sit down there, and I look across and I lean back, and then I see a bottle of wine with a handprint on the label, and I think, that's cool, I like that. In a way, I get more pleasure, perhaps isn't the word, satisfaction, fundamental satisfaction from that than say a movie I've done which get nominated for an Oscar or whatever it is. I don't know why. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it doesn't matter. But I enjoy both. Film is what I know how to do. Grapes and wine is really establishing an entity for other people to excuse me to make it work. The other thing about us, which I should have said when you're talking about our ethos, is we're perhaps closer to an old Tuscan estate in as much as we have grapes. We have 3 vineyards. We have grapes, we have olives, 8,000 olive trees, big orchard, big vegetable garden, horses, which now pull most of our machinery, sprays mostly instead of tractors. What else do we have? Lots of chickens. We use the eggs in our eggshells, biodynamic preparations, and so on. We got cows. We use the milk, the horn, etc. In other words, everything's used. So what happens is it isn't about going to work to do stuff with grapes. It could be olives. It could be the vegetable garden. It could be the orchard. And consequently, people's task and knowledge is huge. It isn't one single thing. Obviously, we have the experts, but these people learn more and more, take ownership more and more. So that means, you could turn up there, the winemakers could be away, the viticulturists could be away or busy, you could talk to, an American or a Canadian or a Swede who's involved in the viticulture or the winemaking. They could be 20 times more articulate than I am, but also knowledgeable. And that again, it's just them, taking ownership.
Thank you very much, Michael. I take my profession very seriously. I've been a sommelier now for 13 years, and I've always been a big fan of your wines. And I regard myself as being the facilitator of liquid enjoyment. That's what I regard the sommelier thing. And it's all part of the Epicurean Odyssey. Thank you very much once again.
Pleasure.